Hello friends, this video try to give complete information of basic servlets. So let's dive into this video. So for using servlets, we have to download core Java and one server. The server must be able to run the Java files like Tomcat or Glassfish. It's your choice, but I choose Tomcat as a server as my server. So whenever you downloaded the Tomcat server, so it has to be present in program files and Apache Software Foundation, which is Tomcat 10th version. So we have to know the three folders in this Tomcat one directory, so which is bin and lib and web apps. This bin, this bin contains the server which have to run before we have to check our application. So it has two servers, like one is Windows 10 and Windows 10 for Windows. Like I'm sorry, Tomcat 10 and Tomcat 10 for Windows. And then lib. This lib actually contains the servlet file, like which we have to extract. Servlet API file. So we have to extract here. So just like this and extract here. It's your choice to extract. So as I already extracted the files, I get this. So there is no need for me to extract that files again. So after extract that file, which is Servlet API, we will get Jakarta and meta info. So this folder contains the data about the data, and this Jakarta file uh, contains basic methods and interfaces, all the classes which belongs to the servlet. Okay, and then the last one is web apps. So it's a directory where we have to load our files, uh, which belongs to the certain project. So in this project, we have to create a directory. So for our project, so my directory is my project, and it contains again two sections. One is web.info. So it contains the information about the web, and it contains further it further divided into classes and the web XML file. So though both are important, this classes contains the dot class file of our Java file. So that means our servlet file, and this web.xml contains the information of mapping between this servlet and the HTML file. So and my project main directory contains these web.info and the HTML file. Okay, so this is about the basic idea of Tomcat server. After that, so how, like how we have to run this server. So I've just loaded my entire directory in VS Code editor. Okay, see, so this is the directory structure, my project, which contains the web.info file. So it contains the classes, uh, okay, the classes which the class extensions of the servlet file, okay, and then web.xml file. So now this my project contains along with web.info, it contains log.html file. So that means it contains HTML files and web.info. Okay, now let us try to understand why we need a servlet. So this servlet is a small program which uh, runs on the server side. So it takes the request from the server and gives the response to the server, which may be uh, which must be in a user request, right? Okay. Now, so this we have to study the servlet if we want to a Java full stack developer, because depending on the servlets, we can able to write a code for dynamic web content. So the servlets are foundation for Java web applications, of course. And understanding the servlets helps us to grasp the web applications process, HTTP request and generate response, which is we will understand it in further video. And yes, this is in order to become a full stack developer, we have to learn some framework, which depending on the languages which we have chosen. So for Java, it is Spring. So then why do we need to learn the servlet? Because the Spring actually developed based on the servlet. So servlet is important to learn in order to understand the Spring. And mainly as this the way which the client interacts with the servlet. So this client actually, like I'm the client, I have to interact with the server through the web browser. So that means I send a request to the server. The server sends that request to the servlet. The servlet actually processes that request, and if it needs the database, so it accesses the database. Otherwise, it directly generates the response and send it back to the web server. Now that web server sends the response to the web browser. So from where the client gets the response. Okay. So as I'm using Tomcat server because it is free and open source. We may have a like there are a lot of services like glassfish, wildfly, so on. So okay, now yes, this is how we are working with the servlet. So from client to the servlet. Okay, so let us understand this. So client gives the HTTP request through the web browser to the server, and after receiving the HTTP request from the client, the server actually called the web.xml file. So it called the web.xml file in order to know for what servlet it has to call for that request. Okay. So because the web.xml file contains the URL pattern. So these URL pattern actually shows the linkage between the servlet and the user request. Okay. Uh, after uh, after know the okay, this is the particular servlet for the user request. It actually transport that request to the servlet by mapping, and this servlet actually uh, generates a response to the service method and pass it to the server, and this server further process further forwards that server to the web browser from where client saw that like from where client access that request. Okay. uh, Now we have to understand it. So before going okay, now see, I just write my Java file, uh, dot Java file. So this is my servlet file, servlet dot Java file in the classes folder. It's our choice to write in the in this or not, but it must be necessary to place the dot class servlet file in this classes folder. Okay. So we may place anywhere in this system uh, for dot class Java Servlet. Okay. I actually run this dot class Java file, and whenever I run this file, this dot class Java file automatically generated. Okay. And this is the HTML file for this servlet file. So that means here the user interacts with this HTML file. So whenever he interacts with this file, he interacts with this HTML file, he accesses this servlet. If he interacts this register.html file, then he accesses I mean then the servlet is this register servlet.java. Okay. So let's run this. Let's run my project. So for run my project, we have to run we have to run the server first, which is Tomcat server. So which is present in bin folder. Okay. So yes. Uh, yes, okay. My server is run successfully. So we get message like server startups in 730 milliseconds. We don't get this 730 always. It's depending upon the system. It depends upon the system. Okay. Yes, now the server runs and uh, we have to open the our browser file and we have to give command like http colon slash slash local host and our port number. My port number is 8080. It is generated whenever you uh, downloaded this Tomcat server, and then my directory, which is my project, and then I have to access these login.html file. So for that, login.html. Okay. Now, yes, this is the login.html file. So now I'm actually creating and I have to access this login.html file. The password is like Sase. Now login. Okay. So now I successfully logged into the system. It shows hello Sase. Successfully logging into the system. So let's try to give fake password. Okay. Now it shows like invalid username or password. Hello Sase. So this is how the servlet performs. You see. So I'm interacting the browser through these HTML requests, and whenever I interact login.html request, so the server takes that request and call the web.xml file, which has the mapping, which shows the mapping to this login servlet. Understand? And these login servlet actually process my request and generate the response to my request and send back to that request to the server, to the server, and the server sends that request back to the web browser from where I can access the data. So let's try to do this process with the register.html file. Okay, so now open the browser, just change the login, replace the login board with the register. It's done as everything is same and click. As this is my registration page. So let's try to fill these columns here and mail and birthday. Okay, it is not to right. And send address. Now click on the register as this is the dynamic information of my register. If you can give your information, you don't get my information because it's your information. So that is what we called as dynamic. So it changes with respect to the user. Okay. So this executes the same way as login file executes. I mean, login, yes, login file executes. So I interact with I interact through the register.html and whenever the server takes this register.html file, yeah, let's open this. Okay, so I'm client and the browser. So HTTP request. Uh, First of all, my HTTP request is login.html. So whenever my HTTP request is login.html, server takes my request and it called the web.xml file. So this web.xml file actually has a URL pattern. In URL pattern, it has a word. So which shows that this servlet for these user request, we have to call this servlet. Okay. like let's get uh, detail in web.xml file. So this is web.xml file, and it has see, it has the servlet name and servlet class name. After that, it has mapping feature. So in mapping feature, it has the main word is URL pattern. So this tag actually connects the user HTTP request to the servlet class. Understand? So we can check it. So here URL pattern is wrap, DRATP, wrap. So whenever I open these HTML, so here URL pattern is there. So uh, click on okay, we can check that here. So see form. Okay, yeah, my file is actually starting from form, and the method is post because I'm actually post my data to the server, and the action is draft. DRATP draft. What it was. Okay, draft, which has to be equal with the URL pattern. Okay, so this is how the servlet stores the information of the log.html. So then how the servlet is stored in this web.xml file? So we actually store the servlet name in our web.xml file itself, because here the servlet name is a login.servlet, right? So in web like in web.xml, we actually have a tag like servlet name. So here we have to upload our servlet name. So which has to be equal with the servlet name which we have created. And yeah, we have to share the class server class name also, because what the browser can access only the dot class file data. Okay, and yeah, this is a mapping feature. This mapping feature actually belongs to what? This servlet class. So that's why we write this servlet class here. Okay, and yeah, this register.html file. So for the second file also, I created an entire form, so which is a registration page first directly, and yeah, which is a form. I have to use form tag. um, yes, and the action. So this action in here, the action is graph, which has to be a value of URL pattern of web.xml file. So similarly, here also the action is register, which has to be an URL pattern value of the URL pattern of like, which has to be URL pattern of see URL pattern which has to be the value of URL pattern of that servlet register.servlet. So register servlet. Right? So this is information about how servlet works. What is the connection between the servlet and the web browser, and how web browser interacts with the user interface browser and server side. So